Being said, welcome to Ruction Nation, Zach. I'm super excited to get to know you, hear your story, and how you got into the trades.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, why don't we just start off with telling our audience kind of what you do, how you started, and how long you've been doing it.
So I'm a project manager in the fire sprinkler industry. Been doing it since September of 2020. My dad's roommate in college, that's what he did for his entire career, and it sounded interesting to me in my last year of college. So I had planned to come to Denver to visit him over spring break my last year of college, but that was right when COVID hit. So we moved that to after I graduated. So I actually moved into his basement for 4 months so he could basically teach me how to design fire sprinkler systems. And he got me a job at where he worked for his career, which was Western States Fire Protection. So I worked for them for about 2 years, and then I went to H2O Fire Protection in Aurora and worked for them for about another 2 years. And I've been with H2O since. So since last May, I've been with H2O.
Very cool. Do you remember what the appeal was, or what made you first interested?
I don't know. I had no idea what I was gonna do career wise. And they my dad and John pitched that idea to me, and I was like, well, why not give it a shot? So, in those 4 months that I spent with him while he trained me, I just kind of said, well, maybe this is for me. I'll give it a real shot, and I'm glad I did. So,
do you remember the first couple of lessons that he taught you within those 4 months?
Yeah. So the very first thing was he made me read the entire code book cover to cover. So just a light read. Yeah, a few hundred pages. Kind of like reading a dictionary. Easy way to put yourself to sleep, but and definitely a lot of things in there that I was like, I don't know what I'm reading. And then the very first, design, I guess, tool he trained me on is called base spacing. So basically just spotting dots and make sure your spacing is correct, I guess.
So can you just describe your role a little bit, like your day to day? What are your main responsibilities on a day to day basis?
Sure. Yeah. Review construction drawings for my design purposes. You write up change orders, billings. I guess I'd say on a good week, I'd like to have, 50-50 design time and PM time. Lately, it's been about 90-10 to 90% PMing, 10% designing. That's a lot of that is with East Maine, but as well as my other projects I got on my plate. So,
gotcha. Shoot, I forgot where I was going to go with that. Go ahead if you got some.
Yeah, I was just so you said you went to schooling or you went to college. Did you go or were you enrolled in a program that pertained to what you're doing right now, or was it something completely different?
I mean, not really. I started out in the Bachelor of Science in the mechanical engineering major. Got all my GEs done, and then switched to the Associates of Applied Sciences for Mechanical Engineering Technology. So it took me about 5 years, and I walked out with just an associate's degree. But
do you think it was worth getting the degree, or do you think you could be where you're at today without it?
I mean, I've known some designers in the past that don't have a college degree, so I think I could, but I don't know that I would have ever gotten hired at Western without a college degree. but there are tons of fire suppression companies out there, always looking for designers. So I don't think it's necessarily required for some companies to have some sort of college education.
Yeah, and I mean, I've worked with H2O for many years now, and pretty standout company. Always does a good job. It's also a very hot niche in construction right now with the code changes. I'd say in the last decade. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of turnover. All the guys in the field seem to stick around for a very long time. I don't know if that's true company to company or if that's just an H2O trait. What what do you think is the cause for that low turnover in field guys? Is it a well-paying career path?
It is well paid. They are well paid. So H2O is non-union. So all our field guys are non-union, but it's still they still get paid well. And if they're good, we like to incentivize them to keep them here. And the I guess not so good fitters kind of weed themselves out on their own. So it's a well-paying career for them, and if they like it, and if they're good at it, they want to stay. So,
Have you ever been given the opportunity to go out and work with the fitters, like hand in hand, for any extended period of time?
once it was a Saturday. Back when I was really new with Western, they had me go out and basically just install hangers. So no real pipe fitting or nothing. But since then, no, I haven't.
How many times does, or I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this, but when you're going through the design process, do you pretty much have your parameters, your code, or is there any sense of constructability, that like insight that you get from the field guys when doing your design?
Oh yeah, I think about lessons I've learned in the past a lot in terms of where to put heads, how to space heads, where to run pipe. Because we all share corridors. Ceiling spaces can get pretty tight in areas, so that I definitely think about the fitter experience, past experience with conversations with fitters that I've had. So,
What are the qualifications for either becoming a PM designer or even a pipe fitter for a fire suppression company?
I guess as long as you're, well organized and good with time management, really anybody could be a PM, I think. And then, for my sake, I was, I had never given a second thought to a fire sprinkler before I stepped into this industry. So, I think if you know how to, I guess if you're a good learner, I guess anybody could be a designer as well. So
what about
with fitters, they all start as a want to say class 10 apprentice. So they're not gonna, their first day as a pipe fitter, they're not going to be running an East Main type of job. There's no way. So they're always going to have a foreman above them. And I guess I don't really know what the qualifications would be. I guess if you're a hard worker, then and we need another fitter or an apprentice, then we'll consider you. So
there's no like licenses that people need to.
Yes, there are. So there's your state fitter's license. All of them need that. And I guess anything else, I'm not really sure.
How do you know how you get that license? Is there
it's called the CSA exam. which I'm getting ready to take myself. Because for a lot of jurisdictions like finals, the inspector is going to want to see some sort of license, even if it's the project manager that has it. They will still sign off. They just they want somebody to have it that's representing H2O Fire or any other fire suppression company.
Gotcha.
And every jurisdiction takes that same certification.
Correct, because so if you pass that CSA exam, that gives you like basically your license to go get your state license, your state of Colorado license.
Is H2O only in Colorado, or do they venture
Correct.
out?
Yeah, this is our only location up here in Commerce City.
Oh, nice.
Family owned.
Did you know the family prior to joining, or?
I did not. I actually had a recruiter reach out to me after I had parted ways with Arapahoe. And so they got me in contact with Chris, the owner. So it's been a good working relationship so far. It's only been about a year. So
Yeah, in my experience with H2O, they come through big. They definitely have that vibe and feel that they will go the extra mile. So I agree with what you're saying about H2O thus far.
we care.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the biggest challenge in your role? What's the biggest consistent challenge that you come up against?
Keeping things organized, whether it's my email inbox or fab quotes, POs. It's a lot. So you got to file things away, like names that make sense, places that make sense, like in your file explorer, with emails, having subfolders, named for that certain project name. So again, just trying to stay organized is probably the biggest challenge, I think. As I'm sure you guys could agree, being the general contractor, you get a lot of, you have all your subcontractors. So, keeping your email inbox organized, I'm sure is a challenge for you guys as well. So
Yeah, it stacks up pretty quick. Emails are endless. Gotcha. Do you have a biggest accomplishment from your career so far that you can look back on and take some pride from?
I guess since I started with H2O, it's been a little new to me, the new construction side of it. When I was with Arapahoe, I was strictly TI guy. So a lot of anywhere from one head to, only a couple hundred heads. But now starting, since I've been with H2O, a lot of my jobs are, the head counts in the thousands. So, I kind of hang my hat on my last design, which was the Grant Street apartments that came in at a little over 4,000 heads. And really proud of how that design came out. It's still in review with Denver, but, just looking back at it and the amount of time that I spent on it, I get a good feeling of accomplishment on that one.
What's one thing that your average person wouldn't know about fire sprinkler systems? Like you said, you never thought twice about a fire sprinkler till you were doing this. I think that's the case for probably most people.
Mm-hmm. I guess just the amount of time it takes. Like, do you mean like in my designing role, or just like in fire sprinkler systems in general?
Both. Yeah.
I guess in general, just like how many different types of systems there are and kind of what goes into each and every one. With my designing role, just the amount of time that a design like that can take. Talking to friends and family, they're like, "Oh, wow, how much left do you have?" And it's like I never really know what to tell them because I don't really know. I mean, it's it all depends. So like that Grant Street Apartments, those drawings, that set is 35 pages alone. So I mean,
Did you solely design that? The Grant Street Apartments that you're talking about? Like, did you start it from start to finish?
Start to finish it. Well, so Jim, who designed East Main, he left in January, so that's why I took over East Main. He had started Grant Street, but I pretty much kind of scrapped everything he had and started on a blank canvas, basically. So,
what kind of mindset does that take? Like, what drawing sheet, I guess, are you referring to and looking off of when starting your design?
I look at sections a lot and elevations. Obviously, the RCPs to get ceiling heights. I reference the electrical drawings because we like to line up with lights or any sort of ceiling elements. Don't really look at HVAC all that much. But yeah, I'd say the majority is the reflected ceiling plans is what I kind of work off of.
And do you work backwards? Do you start with like the layout and then kind of work back towards the water entry?
Yeah, so yes and no. So we take basically the most remote unit. So like furthest away from the water entry room or fire pump room, on the top floor, we like to have that calc, and that'll be like the baseline for all of our other units. So I'll basically start by drawing the most remote unit and see how many heads I can feed off of 1 3/4 inch line. And then I'll draw in my fire pump room, and then my bulk pipe that's running to the standpipes and sprinkler riser, whatever stair that might be in. And that calc on that unit basically drives essentially all of my pipe sizes throughout the entire building. My main size to that unit, my sprinkler riser size, how much 6-inch bulk pipe I need to run. And then basically after that, then I go unit by unit and run the corridors. And then, so what I usually do is I do all the residential stuff, and then I move down into the parking garage if the building has one, or in like, I guess, any retail or amenity areas on whatever floor it might be, first, second.
Is it mostly code driven, or do you take like constructability and costs into account? I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you could go way over the top with these designs.
Yeah, so we like to minimize the pipe sizes as much as we can, and yes, that is mainly code driven because I have to provide hydraulic calculations to prove that it works, right? So, but we definitely like to minimize the amount of 6-inch we use. I like to run, all of our standpipes are pretty much always 4-inch, unless city pressure is horrible and I need to run 6-inch standpipes, then typically we'll have that already built into the cost. So yes, going back to that question as well, is it's cost driven as well.
Why do you guys avoid 6-inch?
Money. It's expensive.
Yeah.
So I don't have the chart right in front of me right now, but the difference between 4 and 6 is bigger than you might think.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know the exact price, but I have heard that it's a pretty significant price difference.
Yeah, and it just keeps going up and up and up, just like everything else. So
yeah. What design do you guys use, or what program software?
it's called AutoSprink. So it's a lot like AutoCAD. It's not like a what's the word? It's not like we're working in AutoCAD and then AutoSprink is like a sub
add-on
program that you put into AutoCAD. AutoSprink is its own. It's a standalone sprinkler design software.
Is it made by Autodesk?
It is.
Does it do like calculations within the program? Like if you were to drop a bunch of dots being heads and you were to measure X amount of distance from your main pipe, would it do a calculation on whatever you need to make those flows work?
Yeah, it basically does it. It does it by, so we draw in 3D. So, all of our elevations are pretty accurate to what it's actually going to look like out in the field, like in the building itself. So I just have to basically just draw a remote area, is what they're called, in the system, and it spits out the calc for me.
That's awesome. Has this ever happened in your career where you have something designed, modeled, and you show up to the place and it looks nothing like what you guys were anticipating or looking or expecting?
Maybe like nothing too major, no. But I'm still early on, so I'm sure I might run into that one of these days. Hopefully not, but no. I mean, there's small things like soffits in units or corridors look a little bit different, I guess, than what the drawing showed, or ceiling heights are way off. That kind of stuff happens often, but nothing super major. No.
Sure. I guess in your opinion, what is the best part of your job?
When I see the email come through that I got a permit, those are typically pretty exciting emails to look at, because a lot of times we get rejected, multiple times. So getting that your permit fees are due, it's always a good feeling. So
Why do you guys get rejected so often? What's the common issue?
I guess my last one is I didn't have my product data stamped, and Denver didn't like that. That's let's see. I guess I could pull one up. I can't really think of a common one off the top of my head, but a lot of times it's my spacing's off. So coverage areas need some work in some areas. That's typically a pretty big one. Obstructions, head obstructions. I guess a lot of, sometimes they need a little more clarification, so they ask for that. If I didn't spell things out clearly enough for them. But it also all depends on kind of your plan reviewer. So it's always nice to, whenever you can, kind of try to build relationships with those plan reviewers, no matter what the AHJ is, just trying to get on their good side.
How's the consistency municipality to municipality in between different fire departments?
So South Metro is awesome. They're good at working with you. Like they'll send me emails instead of just like rejecting me right away. They'll send me an email. I've had some guys even call me if they need further clarification, or if they just have a couple of questions. So that's nice. Denver can be a pain.
Is it just stricter expectations or communication?
Yeah, a little bit more strict expectations, especially with Denver. They want, like I just said, they want you to spell things out for them. They don't want to go open the full IFC set to get some clarification. They'll just be like, well, I'm just going to put that in my rejection letter and let you tell me. So
yeah, it just takes a little extra work on your end to really make it easy to find all those details.
Yeah, notes pointing to shit that should be obvious.
Yeah. Yep. What about, and then I'm sure you're involved with like the final inspections and stuff with each fire department.
Mm-hmm.
How does that process typically go?
So I haven't done a final ever for one of these bigger jobs, but so like with a TI, I guess most jurisdictions, they're going to want myself or my fitter, or someone with the company there.
Mhm.
Or they won't even walk it. It's just, well, nobody's here. So,
Yep.
but no, I usually, I'll get a phone call or a text from one of my fitters saying we're ready for final. Then I'll give the GC a call to confirm that we're good to call that in. So with most TIs and like these big jobs, I'm sure they want it basically move in ready. So if there's painters there, it's automatic fail because can't paint sprinkler heads, so they don't want to even run the risk of, hey, there's painters here, I'm going to sign off on this anyway and just trust that nothing's going to get painted.
And then how hand in hand do you work with fire with notification?
None. Once it's that's all on the fire alarm contractor.
Everything on their end, completely separate.
Yep.
Do they ever call you for insight, advice, or just to?
I've had a couple phone calls in the past. Yeah. But not very often. No.
What subcontractors do you guys mostly interact with out in the field?
So in terms of like just the fire alarm or anything?
Just the other trades. Is there
Yeah.
anyone
So
you have to coordinate with the most?
electricians mostly, because again, we're wanting to line up with lights wherever we can. Do work. I don't know about their day to day, but I'm sure they work with the HVAC guys as well in terms of getting in each other's way or trying to stay out of each other's way. And then of course I work with drywall guys a lot. We need a hydro before drywall goes up anywhere. So
you just brought up the hydro, and it made me think, what are things that in your opinion would help you guys be more successful? You've got two superintendents in front of you. What's something that you would like to say, ask, or pick our brain as to why we do or decide to do what we do?
just, I guess, kind of just communicating a little bit more. I'm not saying you guys in general, but a lot of the custom home superintendents, they don't really ever seem to understand why it's needed. So I guess just communicating with each other on timing of things, because I know hydros are important and getting your drywalls up important for whatever reason, for heat or whatever. So yeah, I just say just communicating with each other on both of our needs, and just try not to, I guess, not step on each other's toes and work with each other. So
yeah, is there like, would you say that that's the most common thing that you see, people just rushing and not communicating, or what is it exactly?
yeah, both rushing, because we all know, you're trying to get a job accomplished here. So I guess just rushing things and not communicating with each other is what I run into a lot. Like I said, these GCs for custom homes, they like to fight. Like, well, why can't I hang drywall before you hydro? I don't want to turn the water on to the house. I don't have heat yet, which I understand, but need to got hydro before drywall. So
Yeah. Are you working on multiple jobs right now? What's your workload look like as a PM for H2O?
I got probably about 20 open projects.
How do you manage that? How do you keep a clear headspace? I know you've talked a lot about organization, but 20 is, you don't even have that many fingers. You have to use your toes.
Making lists,
Making lists.
in
Do you
handwriting.
separate and like dedicate each a little bit of time for each project each day, or?
No, not necessarily. Typically only when, cause I'd say about 4 of those are big jobs. And then the other 15 or however many it is are, single family homes, custom homes, small little TIs. So no, I don't check in on every job every day. The big ones, typically I do. But with the smaller ones, it's usually just as it comes up.
Sure. Are you in charge of manpower as well? Like getting the crew members out to the sites?
Yeah. So all of us in the office kind of work together on that. Whether Daryl has someone I need. So like for East Main, for example, Fernando was at one of Daryl's jobs that just finished up. And so, well, can I steal him? Kind of need, extra manpower out at East Main. And he was like, yeah, go for it. So like I said, Chris, Daryl, myself and Kim, we all work together with manpower scheduling and where to send guys or pull guys. So.
It's awesome. How do you know how you guys find people, for the ones that do have to install?
Like as in new hires?
Yeah, new hires, experienced individuals. I know
Yeah,
that.
so we get quite a bit of guys, walk through the front door and ask for an application. And I guess for outsourcing, I'm not really sure how Chris does that. Whether it's like through a recruiter, like you found me, or if there's some sort of like sprinkler fitter, I guess forum, or I don't know. I don't know how he outsources for that. That's all on him.
For sure. I guess if you had to give advice for somebody that is interested in getting into fire sprinkler and they have a goal or a desire to be a designer like you are, or a PM, what are some qualities or traits that individual should have?
Time organization skills is huge. I guess dedication to being a hard worker, dedication to, just feel, if you really want to do it, you kind of got to jump in both feet. And, not saying it being a designer is necessarily all that difficult, but there is a lot to it. There's a lot to learn. I learn new things nearly every day. And I've been doing it for 5.5 years. So, the willingness to learn new things, be open-minded. So I guess try to have a good attitude about it.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things in this industry that will push your buttons or make you go crazy. So maybe a little bit of thick skin.
Right.
Be able to take some criticism and I guess try to learn from your mistakes as much as you can, because they do happen.
Do you have an example of a mistake that you've made that you've learned a valuable lesson from? That you're willing to share?
I guess going back to the time management thing, when I was new, I had no idea. We have budgets for a reason, and some past projects have gone way over budget in the design phase, and I can, honestly say that those were solely on me. So I've definitely learned from that. I think it's a struggle. It's still a struggle. Jobs still do go over from time to time, but try to, I guess, manage it as much as I can.
How do you unwind outside of work? What do your weekends look like?
I like to golf. I'm not necessarily very good at it, but I enjoy it. In the winter, I like to ski. Always been a big Broncos fan, so love going to those games, or any Colorado sports for that matter. This last weekend, we went to a Spartans game, which is like the indoor football league. That wasn't great, but it's still a good way to get out of the house and see some friends.
Yeah. Well, why wasn't it great? I've never been to a Spartans game.
Just wasn't great football, I guess, and it dragged on and on. I mean, I think it was a 3.5 hour game of not very good football. So
yeah, that makes it tough. Did you play football growing up?
I played in high school and some intramurals in college, but nothing too serious. So
right. So sports is your kind of go-to. Skiing. What was the other one you said?
Golf.
Where's
your go-to place for golf?
I basically live right next to Common Ground golf course there in Lowry. So I go there a lot. Aurora Hills, I like. This last weekend, I played at Walnut Creek Golf Preserve in Westminster. Getting to like that one a lot. So, but really anywhere I can find a tee time.
Yeah,
because it can be tough. It can be tough sometimes.
There's a lot of people that live here now. Are you a native to Colorado?
No, I'm from Idaho originally.
Okay. Did school bring you out, or work, or what was it?
Mainly work, but again, I've always been a big Broncos fan, so that was kind of a big driver for it. And then the skiing definitely made the decision a little easier too. So,
did it hurt your soul this year with the snowless winter that we got?
Not really, because I've been dealing with a broken ankle, so I shouldn't even really be walking on it. But I don't think my doctor's going to be joining me for a East Main job walk anytime soon. So
Cody will carry you around.
Yeah. How'd you break your ankle?
So it was about 2.5 years ago. The first time I broke it, I stepped on a golf ball and rolled it in. And so it pulled my deltoid ligament so far. It didn't tear the ligament. It just snapped a chunk of bone off with it. And then I re-broke it a couple months later, stomping at a Broncos game. And then this most recent break, which was about a month or so ago, I slammed my tibia into my talus. And so there's just like micro fractures all up and down the top of my talus and the bottom of my tibia. So just kind of a stress fracture. But he still wants me to stay off of it as much as I can.
Yeah, I would tell you the same thing. That's 3 very unfortunate things.
Yeah.
You only get one body. You got to take care of it.
That's true. That's true. And not doing physical therapy the right way the first time didn't help.
Yeah, that makes it tough.
So what is your what do you think you're gonna be doing 10 years from now? You think you're gonna be doing the same thing, or do you think you're gonna move into a different role? What are you picturing for yourself?
I could see myself doing the same thing. 10 years from now, I would, I guess, I'd like to be a certified engineer. If I'm not by then, I probably shouldn't be doing this. So, getting my, the NICET level 4 would be a good feather in my cap, I think. Maybe even possibly getting my PE. But I'm not sure if that's a pipe dream or not, without having a bachelor's degree. I guess I'm not really sure what the requirements are on that, but that'd be cool to have.
What would that gain you, career wise?
I think a significant pay increase, for one, but I'd also be able to, I wouldn't have to wait 2-3 weeks for stamps. I could, we could get our internal review done here and, I just stamp it myself and get it submitted. So
What kind of liability comes with that PE stamp?
good question. I have no idea. I really don't. I think, credibility, I think would be a big one. You can't just go around stamping things without actually, looking them over. But yeah, other than that, I really don't know.
Have you ever personally been involved in any lawsuits? I mean, we're talking life safety systems. I know if something happens, you know, anyone gets injured, they're kind of pointing the finger at anyone they can.
Not for any of my projects, no. And I hope I never have to. But again, who knows? Maybe someday it might happen, and that would be unfortunate. But no, as of right now, I have not. I know Chris has. I've overheard. No, I don't know any sort of details, but I've overheard him. Whether he has a meeting with a lawyer or whatever. It certainly does happen.
I know at the beginning you mentioned a gentleman who is a mentor to you that taught you a lot of what you know for like a quick and dirty 4 months. Is there someone that you look up to now? Is there a program? Is there something that you're doing to get continued education for the trade that you're currently in?
Yeah, there's a lot of people I look up to. And guys that I haven't even really talked to in quite a while. Back with Western, my senior PM there, and some other guys. My senior PM here, it's super easy. If I ever have a question, I just turn around and ask him. I look up to Daryl. I look up to Chris. With continuing education, we just went to a AFSA class week and a half ago with West Metro Fire Rescue. So that was nice. We went over a bunch of changes for the upcoming 2028 codes, changes that they made to the 2025 code. So classes like that, those type of classes are typically readily available to us to go to get continuing education credits.
That's awesome. Usually sponsored by the fire department or the company that people work for.
That one was, but there are others that where a company would sponsor them. So I know Western does one once in a while, and I'm sure other companies do as well.
How is the community within Fire Sprinkler? Is it pretty like everyone's down to help each other, or is it standoffish due to like being afraid that they'd take the competition, or what's the vibe?
Is it like if I were to reach out to another company in terms of like getting like an as-built or something?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's standoffish, but I don't think it's necessarily welcomed either. If one of my old friends were to call me and we had like an as-built drawing, then I'd be like, well, sure, maybe let me talk to my boss, see how he feels. But on the other hand, I'm not, calling Arapahoe Fire or Western Fire and be like, hey, I used to work for you guys. Will you hook me up with some as-built or something? I don't.
Right. Does in your experience, every company that you've worked for has used the same design system or software?
Yeah, AutoSpring for all three. There is HydroCAD, which I have no experience with, and I'm sure there's other programs as well that I don't know about. But yeah, it's been AutoSpring for all three.
Nice. When you guys are going through design or estimating or what have you, do you guys have like a metric on how many sprinkler heads or how many linear feet a fitter should do in a day? What are those industry standards?
Yeah, so like in terms of estimating, we'll go through and spot the estimated number of heads per unit, like on your unit plans themselves. And then we'll multiply that, then we'll go to the unit matrix and multiply however many heads for this unit, how many of that unit exists. And then, so like, that's how we'll get our head totals for the units. And then we'll go through for like parking garages. We'll just do it by square feet. So the total square footage of the parking garage is divided by 130 square feet. That spits out our number for how many heads are needed in the parking garages. And then, yeah, linear feet, basically, we'll just kind of, run our pipe through the corridors. And then it's been a while since I've estimated a job. And I can't remember what our baseline is for how much pipe we use per unit, but there is a metric we use. And then again, we'll multiply that by, how many units, exist in the building.
Sure.
So, and in terms of like, our field guys, I think we try to base it off of 4 to 6 units a day is what we kind of expect out of them, depending on the size of the units.
Is there ever any like point of contention where the field gets frustrated with the office guys or the office guy gets frustrated with the field guy? Do you have an example of one of those scenarios or situations?
I guess the only situation I would ever get frustrated with one of my guys would be if they're sending me material lists every day. At some point I'll be like, hey, I need you to look ahead a little bit. Because POs stack up as it is. And so if they can try, help me help them by getting me, like, say, look a week or so ahead and just get me one list for that week, that helps me a lot. But there are times where they're sending me lists every day, multiple lists every day to get ordered because they need it. I guess that would be the only time that I would ever really kind of get frustrated and, ask them, hey, help me out a little bit here. So,
yeah, for sure. Just a little bit of foresight. So it's not always reactionary.
Yeah. And in terms of them ever getting frustrated with us, I guess that'd come down to like their timelines. Like with me telling a superintendent, it's going to take them however many days. And then they come back, they're like, oh, I can't get it done that fast. And so sometimes I can be a little overconfident in their ability to get something done. And, in my idea of what it should take them. So.
Sure.
How about you joined the industry when you were fairly young, right? How about the kind of age gap? Did you have any old timers that were kind of like didn't really have faith in you just because of your age and experience level?
Oh yeah, and I still do. Yeah. They like to talk down, I guess, because you're so young. I guess not so much anymore than when I first started, because I actually, have some knowledge of the industry. Before when I didn't know anything, definitely a lot of harsh comments, I guess. Harsh looks.
How'd you deal with that?
Just took it on the chin, really. It was like, I know I'm new, I know I'm young. But just keep learning and just grow in the industry. Just like, those old timers were new at one point too. So.
For sure. If you were to not do fire sprinkler, if you weren't ever introduced to it, or found a love for it, what do you think you would be doing with your life?
I'd probably be in the tire and auto industry because that's what my dad did. Whether it was running his old store or, working at some sort of shop, trying to, advance in that industry, that I'd say that's probably what I'd be doing right now.
Very cool. Do you do any work on your own vehicles, or do you have any aspirations or hobbies to work on anything automotive?
Well, when I'm back in Idaho, they still let me, do an oil change or do a tire rotate if I need to. But when I'm out here, no. I mean, if I had a lift, then yeah, of course. But I live in a 1-bed, 1-bath apartment, so can't really.
Yeah, that makes it
And
tough.
I'm not sure Chris would like me doing my oil change back in the yard back there, but I've never asked him, so who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he will.
Sweet. What do you think?
Yeah.
So at the end of our shows, we like to give our guests an opportunity just to give kind of a shout out. I think we're kind of coming up on our time here. So yeah, I'll give you a chance to give any shout out to anyone out there, any mentors, or just anything you want to say really to the guys in the field, or to any of the younger people interested in joining the fire sprinkler industry.
Yeah, just I guess if any of them ever hear this, I thank my field guys for all they do. They're a big reason for my job security. Without them, I wouldn't have a job to go to. To my mentor, John Hewlett, he's big reason why I'm here. And thankful for him. And I guess to any young people looking to get into this, it's a very rewarding career. And it can be fun at times. It can be very stressful at times, but keep your head down, work hard, and it can be very, very rewarding for you. So I guess that'd be all I have.
That's great advice. That is great advice. What's something, before we close everything out, what's something that you would tell a younger Zach?
Keep working. Show up on time, and keep working hard. And things will start coming together for you, and you'll see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you for your time, Zach. I appreciate you joining Ruction Nation, cutting time out of your day.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We'll see you out on site soon.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
See ya.